guys, this is Wendell Sailor from round 13 of Big Dell's Tips for PNGBet.com. Well, what a game we have here on Thursday night. The Dragons versus the Broncos. The Broncos, they're trying hard, but they just can't get there. The Dragons are out of form at the moment too, but they welcome back that man, Matt Duffy, and also Mika Ravalawa, the big Fijian flyer. He's been missing of late, a couple of high shots. At the moment, the Dragons just can't get it together, their timing. They'll miss a couple of players through this game, but Jack Berg will move to the back row, and that man Duffy, I think he's going to ignite the X factor that the Dragons have been missing. They just can't seem to get it going at the moment, but I think they're going to be a bit lucky because the Broncos, they're down on confidence at the moment as well. Sarko's at the back. There's a young kid called Selwyn Kobo. He comes in, he's an 18-year-old. They reckon he's a mix between a Latrell and a GI. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. But for me, I just don't know what the Broncos are missing at the moment. They're trying to play with passion that the Broncos have always played with, but they just can't get it going at the moment. They've got some good young players, but they just haven't got any senior players to lead from the front. Alex Glenn, speaking of senior players, Alex Glenn, welcome back. He's had a tough couple of years, in and out, so he'll come back to try and skipper the ship, and hopefully he can get the Broncos over the line. But for me, when I look at the prices here, the Dragons are $1.42, the Brisbane Broncos $2.65. I know a couple of weeks ago the Broncos caused an upset there against the Roosters, but I just think the Dragons can bounce back here and win this game. $1.42, I'll be taking the Dragons, giving the 5.5 start for $1.70. That'll be a smart bet for me on Thursday night. Too many young kids at the Broncos, which can be good, also which can be bad, because if you get a couple of tries scored on you early, it could be for a long night. For me, the Dragons in a tough one against the Broncos. Well, this is a game that we're going to enjoy. The battle of the big cats. The Tigers versus the Panthers. Wow. Who do I think will win this one? Well, look, at the moment, the Panthers have got so many players away on Origin, but their depth is so good. You know, you take Luai out and you take that man Nathan Cleary out, and all of a sudden you bring in Matt Burton, who's a very handy player. He comes in number 6, which is his natural position, and then Tyrone May, who's a pretty fair number 7. But you have a look at the sprinkling of players in and around that side. They've got some young players coming in, young Salmon, Hopgood, and young Tago. So this is going to be an interesting hit out for the Panthers, because the Tigers have virtually got full strength side. There's no one missing from this Tiger side, but even though it's at Leichhardt, I still can't trust the Tigers. They always say winning form is good form. Dylan Edwards is back for the Panthers, and if I have a look at these prices at the moment, well, the Panthers deserve to be $1.44. The Tigers are $2.60, which is a nice price. The last time they played at Leichhardt, I think it was for Tommy Radonicus. They didn't play that well against the Cowboys. I can't see the Panthers losing this game. I think it's going to be tighter than everyone thinks. Mate, I'll be going the Panthers minus the 4.5 start for $1.79. I think that's a good price. There's some really good young players who've been waiting for their opportunity here. And I just can't see the Panthers run coming to an end. The Tigers will be trying hard. But if the Tigers are ever going to beat the Panthers, this is the match. This is the one that you want. You want to end that run. All teams are trying to end the Panthers' run, but they just keep on keeping on. 12 straight wins this year, and I think this could be their 13th. Well, the Storm versus the Titans. The Storm just keep on keeping on. We keep talking about the Panthers and how good they're going, but I've got to tell you, no matter who comes in for the Storm, they do a job. Their young fullback, Nico Hines, he's finally decided to move on and not be that utility. He signed a 3-year deal at the Sharks. That's really good for him, and I think it's good to see where he's going to be at. I'll have a look at this side, and there's a lot of young players coming into this Storm side, and I think they'll get the job done against the Titans. The Titans, young Jaden Campbell. So for people who might know that last name Campbell, it's Preston Campbell's young bloke. I think he's 21 years of age, and he'll be debuting. So nice work, young man. Been some pressure on him over the years, but he's a very talented young player. They've got a few players missing the Titans here, a few big names there playing Origin. I can't see how they can go with this Storm side. Now look at this Storm side. This is a Storm side without their Origin players. You've got Brandon Smith, Big Nelson, Kenny Bromwich is back from injury, Dell Finucane, and then you go to the bench and you've got a guy like Kamikamitha, the big Fijian. I just can't see the Storm getting rolled here. I have a look at the price, and you have a look at the price, the Storm are $1.75, the Gold Coast Titans $6.70. Where I'm looking, I think the Storm, they're playing so well this year. I think they've beaten 7 or 8 teams by 40 points this year. So I'm going the Storm minus a 23.5 start for $1.95. That's too good to pass up, and the Storm will keep on keeping on. The Knights versus the Eels. Well, the Knights. Last week, I tipped the Knights against Manly, and I stopped that run. Of course, because the Knights, when I tip them, they just don't do what I want to do. This week they're up against the Eels, who have been out of form the last couple of weeks. They've dropped Blake Ferguson, a couple of their big names, brought on a couple of young kids, like Hayes Dunster, who's a very good young player. But Dylan Brown comes back from suspension after his, let's just say, after he was sliding into third base a couple of weeks ago, and he obviously injured one of the Roosters players there, young Drew Hutchison. So Dylan Brown obviously apologised to him. He's back now. He'll give a lot more balance to this Penrith team. But if I have a look at this Knights team, they've got so many young players, I don't know if they can back it up. You know, if you have a look at Big Saifidi, he's weighing Origin duty. Clemmer's not going to be there. Young Tex Hoyt comes into fullback there. I look at the price. Yeah, Newcastle, $3.56. That's a big price in a 2-horse race. But I think the Eels can bounce back. McDonald's Jones Stadium hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Newcastle this year. They've won 1 or 2 games there, but a lot of teams have gone there and done the job. So with this price, I'm thinking Parramatta Eels minus 9.5 start for $1.70. I think it's a good price. And Reid Marnie, I've got to say, as a Queenslander, I love Origin. I feel for this young man, Reid Marnie. Reid Marnie, I just thought, I know Harry Grant's a good player. He was named in, I think, the 17 or the 19-man squad, and then he was told he could go back and play some club football. I think it's good for the Eels, but certainly not good for Reid Marnie. But he's a player on the up, and I've got no doubt he'll represent Queensland very soon. So for me, get on the Eels. The Knights are in trouble. You heard it here from the Big Dell. So guys, that's it for Big Dell's tips for this week. There's only 4 games because of the Origin. But remember, gamble responsibly and always back the Queenslanders.